All right, well, welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us for today's APAP NYC Plus Exhibitor Preview webinar. My name is Robbie Otley, and I am the Conference Senior Associate at the Association of Performing Arts Professionals. Before we get started, let's review a few items to ensure that everyone is properly set up to participate. APAP is located in our nation's capital, Washington, D.C., on the ancestral lands of the Piscataway and the Anacostan people who have stewarded this land throughout the generations. I would like to pay my respect to the Piscataway and the Anacostan elders, both past and present. If you'd like to, in the chat box, we would love to see where you are from, if you want to enter that. And then during today's webinar, participants will have the opportunity to ask questions and provide comments using the Q&A and chat functions. If you have questions for our speakers, we ask that you submit them using the Q&A box. And then lastly, I am going to go ahead and open up a poll asking if you have already purchased a booth or not. And so that should be coming right up. And with that, I will go ahead and turn it over to Lisa Richards-Toney, our illustrious President and CEO.
Good day, everyone. Good morning or good afternoon, wherever you may be calling in from. It's so great to see so many of you on the line. Hello, hello, from everywhere, California, all the way to New York and back again. I am Lisa Richards-Toney, President and CEO of APAP. And I'm really happy to welcome you to today's exhibitors preview. We're so glad that you've come. I want to start by thanking and acknowledging the hardworking and talented team at APAP, our staff and our board for their ongoing support in getting us here today. I also want to let you know that today is informational. With the conference being all online this year, we want you to get a first-hand, in-depth look at Swapcard, our conference platform, and just really see what this platform is all about. The APAP staff has been working in partnership with the APAP Conference Committee, members of NAPAMA, and other agents and managers to address pressing needs that the field is experiencing right now. We want to make sure that we are taking into consideration the economic hardship that many of you are experiencing and the relief that you need now. We encourage you to meet the conference on your own terms. Our membership is as diverse as the breadth of our field, and we understand and we acknowledge that different opportunities work for different people, even within the same segments of our field. We also know that some of you have very specific ideas about what this conference can do and should provide for you. And I want you to know that we are listening. Since we began planning conference with our committee co-chairs, Mark Balin, Rosalba Roland, Allie Haynes Hamlin, and Penny Maria Jackson, and other members who make up our committee, representing a wide range of professionals in our industry, working with our staff leads, Krista Bradley and Neo Narner-Madison. They have all worked so hard to imagine us forward. We are just 1 month out, folks, and still, as the pandemic presses on, the needs of our field become more dire. We continue to pivot to ensure that we are meeting as many needs as possible. The whole process is akin to building a plane while trying to fly it. For example, early on, many of you were receptive to our ask to talk to Sue, about membership. And many of you talked to Sue or Keisha. But as the pandemic has waned on and times have gotten harder, we've heard from you that talking to Sue might not be what you want to do. Nothing against Sue, just that maybe having an opportunity to just disclose what you need to do to pay what you can. And so we've listened. Next week, you can expect that to be rolled out, and we invite you to take a look. As I said, the pandemic has gone on longer than we all could have expected. And this prolongedness has made our economic challenges more severe. And we know that this is real. We are committed to providing our members with the best conference experience that we can at this time. I want you to know that it will look a little different. A lot of what you will experience on this webinar is just how to maximize this platform, this opportunity in the online reality that we're in. Many of us have experienced several online convenings, and we've seen the good and the challenging. And with such a diverse field, with diverse needs and expectations, the opportunity that APAP has, we're trying very hard to make sure we can meet as many needs as possible. What I would like you to remember is that this year again will look different, and that the benefits that you normally may get as we're all in crisis, just be as open as you possibly can to seeing and imagining how this could work, albeit differently, for you. The APAP conference was the subject of a recent petition created by groups of agents and managers. I want you to know that we are working very closely with that group and representatives from NAPAMA to better understand the needs of exhibitors and respond as best as we can with the resources that we have. For example, we are looking at badge options that would enhance exhibitor visibility and access. And we have lowered many of our price points. Although there is no guarantee, and the process for fundraising is just that, a process, we continue to seek new opportunities to help offset costs. We succeeded in lowering registration to $50 with the Hardship Relief Scholarship, and we are so glad to be able to provide that. For some exhibitors, though, the needs are still greater, and we hear you. And for those who have signed and are waiting to see just how we can respond, please know that we are working with everyone to strike the right balance. And I feel that we are just about there. We also must underscore the need for your support, as the success of conference and our field depends on participation from our full ecosystem. You have our attention, and I hope that you know you have always had our attention. You can call me, our staff, members of our board. All of us are here for you. As a membership organization, our priority is serving you. As we manage the unique constraints of this year, we are committed, and as much as we want to help everyone, and our staff is in overdrive in effort to do so. I know that many of you understand that we can't be everything to everybody, but you have my personal commitment that we will do our best, again, with the time that we have. Speaking of time, you might not have known that our planning for this year's conference was severely truncated due to many factors outside of the control of APAP. Our New York Hilton hotel negotiations bring primary, unfortunately resulting in delaying our announcement. But with that now behind us, we are eager to move forward as best we can, again, in the time that we have. As we look to the future next year, 2021, 2022, in particular, as APAP's new leader, I am committed to working with our board, staff, and all of the working committees so that we are able to ensure that we are representing our full membership, ensuring that conference and all of our year-round programming is most accessible to meet the changing needs of our members as this pandemic's impact to our field is yet to be fully realized. I also ask that you give us, please, the grace so needed as we, like many of you, do the work to pivot forward. APAP is here for you, and we're so glad that you're with us. Thank you.
Aloha, I'm Karen Fisher, Chair of the APAP Board. I'm also an agent and an exhibitor. I have a sole proprietor agency, Pacific Artist Network, that has a very specific roster of artists from Hawaii and the Pacific Islands. So I have a very, very specific niche in this whole ecosystem of APAP. I wanted to take a minute first to express my appreciation for Lisa's leadership at this time. As you all know, she took the helm from Mario when we were just at the beginnings of this pandemic, and she's provided both strong and compassionate leadership at this time when we're all navigating the unknown. And so I just wanted to take a moment to express how much I and the executive committee have worked so closely with her throughout all of these months, how much I appreciate and admire her leadership. And I think you have in Lisa, as we move forward and as we have to rethink every way we do business in this field, we have somebody at the helm who can help move our collective visions forward as we, and we're creating them as we go. I wanted to take a moment to reiterate that today's meeting is informational, especially for those of us who are interested in booths. How can we make an informed decision unless we understand or try to understand the technology, and also to understand what format of conference participation may work for us. In our discussions with NAPAMA and with other agent managers, we do understand that some people do not want booths. Others, like myself, do want a booth. And so we acknowledge, as it's always been the case at APAP, that we're not all similarly placed. And the question then arises, FOMO, which I would want to address, the fear of missing out. In these times in particular, when we're all impacted by this wave of pandemic and financial crises, it's a time I think not to look at what the other guy's doing, but to look at, okay, what do I need? What's important to me? What do I value? And how, what do I need to do as I look at myself, both personally and professionally in this business? We're acknowledging that we do not expect a lot of business to be done, at least in the ways it's been done in the past at this conference, but we do find that the connections remain important. The relationships in this field remain important. And we all know that as you build your time in this field, you build the relationships that then will impact how you do business in every aspect of this work. So I think it's very important to just free yourself of thinking about what somebody else might be doing, or, and just think about you and your business. What makes sense? Some people can do business in a virtual booth. Others simply want visibility, and that's sort of what I see my category as. I found out through WAM that some of the things I'd imagined were possible were just not happening, but I found value in other ways. And so it really is, looking at what's important to you at this time. And one thing I do like to look at my colleagues for is to see best practices, but ultimately my decisions, and also because it's my pocketbook, it needs to come down to what works for me. I do want to tip my hat to NAPAMA. There was a great webinar yesterday, and I think it's available on their website, that was all about how to navigate a virtual conference. And there were two of the panelists, Christine Barkley and Marian Leibowitz, who laid out some touchstones, if you will, for evaluating how a conference and a booth may have value for you. And I hope that Christine and Marian, you're okay with my taking some liberties with summarizing some of your points. So the questions that were raised is, is it necessary? What is the value to me? And that value has to do with, how do you define success? What are your expectations? What are your goals? What does it mean to simply, to show up, to be there with your other colleagues in the field? The cost factor, something that we all are very painfully aware of. Is it affordable for where I am now? Do I need support for being able to be present? And then sort of in a deeper level, will I be inspired, informed? What impact do I make by being at the table, by attending? Can I carry a positive attitude in, so as I interact with colleagues, we're looking on moving forward and moving forward in a positive way, because we're all living the negatives, we know that. So how can we look at this point in time and say, okay, how can we be creative in working with each other as we move forward? Especially in these times, each of us need, oh, and actually, yeah, the final question, can I manage the technology? And for me, that's a point of stress because I'm just not that tech savvy, but that's why we're doing the demo today. And especially in these times, each of us needs to make the decisions that are right for us. And we're not all the same, and we won't all make the same decisions. And how we look at our business and what our business might be looking like. It's not all the same for every one of us. So now I feel that my decision to attend, my decision to take an exhibit, it has to come from my own space. And as Lisa noted at the beginning, I urge each and every one of you to meet the conference on your own terms, find value on your own terms, because it's that kind of year. And we do all anticipate, and that's why we're all here, we anticipate that we have a future, we will get past the pandemic, we will address the other crises in our field that cover a lot of territory. We are here together, we are here for each other, and that's part of the reason for convening, also because we've also been isolated in all of our little spaces behind our laptops and computers. So it is a time to at least see faces across the country, around the world, and know that we're in this with each other, and we will find the solutions with each other. So thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. I'm Neo Nanor Madison, Director of Conferences and Meetings for APAP. And before we get into our demo of Swapcard, we want to share some details related to the conference for everyone. Next slide, please. So today we'll go through briefly our conference schedule and ways to be visible at the conference, some information about what you can do in the Expo Hall, and then we'll go into the tour and demo of the Swapcard platform. This year, we'll have pre and post conference activities as we've had in person, and they'll consist of affinity groups, topical forums, special interest group, and the APAP member meeting. The member meeting will happen January 13th, post-conference. We will start with pre-con activities on January 6th, and independent showcases will begin on January 6th and run through the duration of the conference through January 15th. Next slide, please. Our annual conference will have many familiar elements, such as daily plenaries and concurrent sessions, along with opportunities to connect with your colleagues by visiting the Expo Hall and viewing independent showcases. The platform will be open to registrants until January 30th. All registrants will have the opportunity to replay content, including sessions and showcases, as your schedule permits throughout the month of January. Ways to be visible during the conference. Independent showcases will be available this year virtually, and showcases will again run January 6th through 15th on the platform. The schedule will appear in the Swapcard platform, and independent showcases will be hosted by you on your preferred live streaming platform. Showcases can be either pre-recorded or live. Showcases will be available for replay on the platform through January 30th. When you purchase a listing for your showcase, it should include both your live airing URL as well as the replay URL. And listings will be uploaded to the Swapcard platform twice. The first upload will be December 29th, and again right before the start of pre-conference activities on January 5th. Pitch sessions will be new to APAP this year. Each exhibitor with a premium booth is invited to produce a 10-minute pitch session. Original airings will run concurrently during the conference during dedicated pitch hours. Pitches will be programmed on a first-come, first-served basis. Pitches will consist of 5-minute pre-recorded video and 5 minutes of live Q&A. Q&A will be handled using the Swapcard question feature. The deadline to submit your pitch video is December 31st. Next slide, thank you. And now to the Expo Hall. The Expo Hall is open January 8th through the 12th. However, your booth will be online and available as an engagement tool for the duration of the conference. Exhibitors will have access to the platform Tuesday, December 22nd. Booth setup must be complete by December 29th. Attendees will have access to the platform on December 30th. And each exhibitor will have access to analytics through your booth so you can track the traffic to your booth. And post-conference, APAP will provide lead retrieval reports to all exhibitors. I want to be sure to mention that the booth this year will not have any booth hours that require you to staff your booth. So the exhibit hall will be online and available to all attendees, but you don't have to staff your booth. There won't be dedicated hours in which you need to stand by your booth to wait for traffic to come to you. You'll be available to attend the conference with attendees and schedule appointments at your leisure. Next slide, please. Swapcard platform. Swapcard offers enhanced opportunities for finding and engaging with your people virtually, such as in-platform private messaging, spontaneous video calls, and AI matching. You will also be able to set your personalized agenda in your preferred time zone. And now I would like to welcome Margaret with Swapcard to lead our exhibitor training.
Hello, everyone. My name is Margaret Dewey. I work for GES as a client relations manager, and I am the dedicated project manager for the Swapcard platform for APAP. Along with me today, I have two of my colleagues, Angie Diamatopoulos and Alyssa Stiriati on here as well. If you have any questions throughout the demo, please feel free to send them a chat in the Q&A chat, and they will respond to you either via chat there or they will call it out to me and we can walk through it together. So I'm going to share my screen. Oh, Jenny, it's saying I can't share because you're sharing currently. There we go. Can everyone see it here? Okay, so this is the homepage of the event. So when your attendees sign in, this is what they'll be greeted for. So this, just to mention, is APAP's demo event. So this is not exactly what their event is going to look like, but it is a good example. And today in this training, I am going to be switching back and forth between this APAP demo event and a GES virtual demo event, just so I can give you a good look at all of the capabilities. So to start, you will see over here on the left-hand side will be your personal profile and your booth. So I'm going to quickly switch over to the GES event, just so you can see your personal profile here. So this is my name. You can see the booth that I am part of down here. To edit your personal profile information, you can click edit over here, or we will talk through this right-hand side menu quickly. So here again, you'll see your name. I have a little green bubble showing that I am online. If you need to edit any of your profile information, you click into profile. You'll see all of these edit buttons. Super simple. You click through, you can edit all of your information. To toggle through to the rest of the editing capabilities, you can use this caret here. Again, just some more information you can put in if you want to add social media, contact details, your company information. I'm going to exit out of this quickly and show the company information down here. It's important to mention that the booth that you are a member of and your company information is not the same. So this right here is not your virtual exhibit booth. This is just the company that you work for if you want to tag it to your personal profile. A good example of this is, LinkedIn. When you go and log in to your profile, you can tag your company there. So this is just what this is. We realize that it's very possible that your exhibiting booth company name would be the same as your company name, but that is the difference here. So your virtual exhibit booth will show up here, and then if you want to tag your company. Going back over to this right-hand menu bar, the Exhibitor Center, this is how you will get to the back end of the platform. So I mentioned right now we're currently looking at the front end of the platform, what your attendees will see, the homepage and everything like that. The Exhibitor Center is the back end where you will actually edit your company's booth. So we'll go through that in a little bit. Some settings, just basic settings of the platform. If you want to disable your status as online, again, I mentioned that little green button shows that you're online. If for some reason you want to turn that off, that is where you do that. Email notifications, the platform will send you an email after a certain amount of time if you missed a notification or a recap of all your notifications that day. So that is where you can turn those off if you choose, and then just some other standard notifications here. And then finally, just the Resource Center. This is where you can go if you have any specific questions about the event or about the Swapcard platform. There's a bunch of articles in here. It's a good resource. Again, as I mentioned, Angie and Alyssa and I are here for you. We are the APAP project managers. So if there's any questions you have once you gain access to the platform, setting up your booth, logging in, anything like that, Angie and I will be here for you. Just send us an email. After this, we will send APAP a slide deck with our contact information, some best practices. We'll include the recording of today's demo. So you'll be able to find where to reach out to us there. And we will make sure that you have that information. And then when you go to send us an email, if you have any questions, we just ask that you send the emails to both Angie and I, so we can get back to you as quickly as possible. Okay, I'm gonna switch back over to the event home, and I'm actually gonna go back to APAP's demo event. So we're back on the home. So we talked through the left-hand side here, where your profile is and the booth that you are a part of. If you happen to be part of multiple booths, they'll show up there, but we understand it's most likely that you'll just be a part of one booth. We talked through the right-hand side menu bar. Up top are 4 icons. Obviously, we're in the homepage icon right now. Next is the message icon. So here is where you will keep track of all of your communication messages. So you as exhibitors can respond through your personal profile. So right now I am logged in as the APAP admin, but you guys as exhibitors can also respond through the booth. So right now I am an APAP admin, but I'm also tagged as part of the PVH Corporation booth. So you can toggle back in between those two, whether you want to be responding from your personal profile or your booth. So this is a way that the attendees can come and find you and send chats, and they can also try a video call. We know networking is a really important part of all trade shows. So Swapcard does a good job with allowing lots of avenues to network with people. So this is definitely one spot that you can go to find those messages, and I'll continue to show other features throughout the platform. Next, we're moving on to the notifications tab, this little bell here. This is where you'll see if you got a connection request, if an attendee accepted your connection request, if an attendee is, signed up for a session, it will give a meeting reminder. That is where you will find that information. And then finally, the little people icon here, this will show all of your connections that you have made throughout the event. So right now I just have Robbie as a connection, but you can search by their name. And then after the event, once you have a long list of all of your connections, you can download it and it will show up in Excel, and it will show all of your contacts with their contact information. I will show you how to send a connection request soon, but until you've sent a connection request and that has been accepted, you will not see the contact's contact details, like their email and that kind of stuff, just for privacy reasons. But once those connections have been made, you will be able to see that there. I'm going to go back to the home page, and I'm going to take a quick pause, see if there's any questions, Angie or Alyssa, that I need to address right now.
So far, so good. We're just answering as they come in on the chat from our end.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, we will move on. So we went through the left-hand side, your right-hand side menu bar, and these top icons here. So again, as I mentioned, this is the front view where you, in your personal profile or the attendees will come. Here in the middle is where APAP will have either a welcome video or header image. At the top here are going to be APAP's home buttons. These will also correlate down here. So you can get to any of these buttons by the top hand menu or down in this grid function. So we'll just go into a few of these. To see the list of attendees, you click into the attendee button. You can see them all here. I am going to quickly switch back over to our GES virtual demo event and click into that attendees button. Here we have them sorted by this AI match that Neo had mentioned earlier. This is our algorithm that will pull recommendations based off of, could be your title or sessions that you've attended, your company, things like that based on when the event is getting started. These will show recommendations for you, for people to connect with. Currently, there's a lot of GES members on here because in my personal profile under Margaret, I work for GES. So those are pulling there and you can toggle through them here. Next, we'll show people who are online. As I mentioned, there's the little green dot to show you are online, kind of similar to how Microsoft Teams or other platforms show. Again, you can toggle through those people there. You can search for an attendee if you know someone specifically. And then here's another option for you to turn off that visibility if you, for some reason, did not want to appear visible. Once you click into someone, you will see some information about them. I am not seeing Ben's phone number or email address. This is because I am not currently connected with him. So if I wanted to see that information, I could say, hey, or whatever message you wanted, and you could send the connection request. Now that it is pending, I can chat with them over here. And then once it is accepted, I will be able to see his contact details such as phone number or email address. I'm going to move into the agenda tab quickly. Here's where the sessions will show up. On APAP's demo event, I will quickly show you here. They've got different types of sessions, conference sessions, showcases, pitch sessions. So your attendees will be able to click through those buttons based on what type of session they're hoping to view. Once you click into a session, here is where that live discussion will show up. So it can be filtered by if you just have a chat, if you have a question, or if you would like to do a poll. So while a session is happening, whether it is a pre-recorded session or not, you can send live questions here. Now I'm going to go back into the APAP demo event. So we've gone through the attendees button, we've gone through an agenda or session button, and now we'll quickly click into exhibitors. So this is where your attendees will come to see all of you guys as exhibitors. So they will see a list of the exhibitors. Again, on the left, they could search. I'm going to click into an actual booth to give you an idea of what your booth could look like in the eyes of an attendee. So here we've got a lot of features. Right away, we're greeted with this intro video. You guys have the option to upload a video or a static image. And again, later on in this training, I will show you how to go into the back end and edit those. We've got your logo here, your booth name. Just for example purposes, I've called this premium or standard booth. Here is where attendees can send you a message. On the left-hand side, you have an ad that you can click and it can take you to your company's website. If you want to redirect it out of the platform, or if you want to redirect it to a session that you're hosting, you can do that with the ad there. Attendees can bookmark your booth. They will see some information about your booth. You can add in social medias. You can add in, APAP is allowing you to put your artist roster or services. You add those in. Once your attendee clicks on it, they can get some more information here. Again, this is just an example for you guys. Scrolling down, as Neil mentioned earlier, the difference between the premium booth and the standard booth is that all of the booths will get the same functions. You know, you can have this ad here, you can have the video or image, but you will be allowed to host a pitch session if you are a premium exhibitor, and that would show up here. If you are not hosting a pitch session, this would just not show up. You can upload documents, and then all of your team members will show down here. As I mentioned, this is a great way for attendees to network with you. They can send your booth a message. I'm going to switch over quickly to our GES event and go into an exhibitor just to show you how an exhibitor can schedule a meeting with you, or an attendee can schedule a meeting with you as the exhibitor. So right here, you will see meeting slots. APAP will allow certain time slots for you guys to have meetings. So when your attendee comes to your booth, they will see what meetings are available. They can click on a time. This is a hybrid event, this demo event. So there is a actual in-person location, but for your purposes, it will just be virtual room. You can send a message and then send the meeting request. And again, I will show you on the back end as an exhibitor how you can accept those meetings or not. So you are an attendee, you just sent the meeting, and now it is showing pending. So multiple avenues to network here. Finally, I am going to show you just a good tool for you guys as exhibitors. I'm switching back over. We have the help desk here. So this is an exhibitor booth that will be a help desk for you guys to go to during the actual live event days. As I mentioned, you will have Angie and I's contact information to reach out to before the event is live if you need help setting up your booth, logging in, anything like that. But when the event is live, you will find an exhibitor help desk. You can get to it via the help desk button, or it will show up as an exhibitor. You will click into the booth, and here, similar to how an attendee will go into your booth and can message you, you can message us who are on the back end of this booth with any questions you might have during the live event. I will stop quickly to see if there are any questions that I can answer currently.
Yeah, Margaret, this is Robbie. I'm going to ask one that's popped up a number of times. There was another platform or another conference that several of our attendees went to that was also using the Swapcard platform where they were exhibitors. Do you know if they're able to migrate that booth over from the previous one?
It is a good question. When you log into Swapcard, you will see your two events there, so you can go back and forth between the two events. But Angie and Alyssa, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not sure how you can actually bring in your booth over, but you can use very similar materials, so it should be easier to start your booth on the APAP event.
Yes, that's correct. So your profile will be the same and that information will carry over in terms of your personal profile, your name and things of that matter. But your booth will not, so you will have to recreate it for the APAP event. But as Margaret mentioned, it should be able to toggle between the two to pull that information if you need to.
Perfect. That is great that a good amount of the exhibitors have already seen the platform and are familiar with it. That should definitely make it easier on the second round. Okay, so now we have seen an attendee button, an exhibitor button, an agenda button. We've gone through the home page. So now I'm going to show you quickly the back end. So again, I told you you can get there by clicking on the Exhibitor Center. When you go to the Exhibitor Center, if you do have multiple booths, as the APAP admin, I am part of multiple booths here, but most of you will just see one booth. You'll click into it and you will be greeted by a welcome message from APAP. Here we will make sure that Angie and I's email addresses are listed here. We can also put the recording from today's demo, so you'll be able to access that when you come into the Exhibitor Center, if you want to go back and reference it. So that is your home button over here. Your company profile, this is where you will make all of those edits. Like I showed you on the attendees view, here's where you can upload your video or image. It's very simple. You just click edit. You can add in your header image. You can add in a video. If I take this one out, you will see you have the option to add a YouTube or Vimeo video. You paste in the ID and it will update in real time. If you choose to use an image instead, it will give you the specs here, your logo. Again, there will be some specs, your booth name. Similar to on the homepage where I showed you how to update your personal profile, you can toggle through all of the information to update. If you want to add social medias, contact information, I'm going to exit out of this. All of that information we just went through correlates down here. Here's where you can add those artists or services. You just click add in over here. Artist 3, you can put in a small description, create, and then it'll give you the option to add in a photo. And obviously you can put a longer description. There's no limit for the amount that you can put in there. So feel free to update those. So we've gone through all of this information on the left-hand side here under company profile. We'll move into meetings. I'm going to switch back over to my GES event just to give you an example, since the APAP demo event isn't live, so there's no meetings. We'll go in here into meetings. So you can see, since I sent that pending request from the attendee side, they'll show up here. You'll see invitations. So those are the ones you need to reply to, confirmed meetings, pending, if you cancel or decline. If you click into a meeting, it'll give you the information here. You'll see who it's from. You can choose if you want to assign it to a booth member. Maybe you know that you are not available at 10:30, but Ben is, and you want to assign it, and then you accept. And your attendee will get a notification that the meeting is accepted, and it is with Ben Kramer with GES, or whoever you choose from your booth staff. Finally, you can export all of your meetings, and again, that will show up in an Excel file, and there will be the times and all of that information in there. Finally, moving on to team contacts. This is everyone that your booth has either had a meeting with or made a connection with. You can export that into an Excel file. It will give all of the contact information for those connections. And the last tab here is your team. This will be all of your booth staff team members will show up here. The last and final thing I wanted to show you is if you go to the home, once the event has started and you've started racking up analytics, they will show down here. So you will be able to see how many views your company profiles had, how many people have bookmarked your company, number of contacts, and confirmed meetings. So if there's any other questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Otherwise, this is our kind of brief overview of the front end and the back end of the platform. And you will be receiving the slide deck information that I showed you or I talked about with our contact details that you guys can feel free to reach out to us at any time with any questions.
Margaret, I'll pull another one before we hop off that's coming up a lot. And I can't remember the answer to this. The number of products, or in this case, artists/services, is there a limit to that? I can't remember.
There is no limit on the actual platform. If you guys as the APAP organizers choose to put a limit on them, that can be added, but the actual platform has no limit.
Now I can quickly answer, we are not limiting the number of artists or products you can have in your booth.
Great. Okay, I will stop sharing unless there's anything else I need to walk through. Alrighty, thank you everyone. We look forward to working with you.
Okay, thank you, Margaret and Alyssa and Angie for that demo for everyone. I do want to note that the team you met today with Swapcard will be our support leading up to and during the conference. More information will be available with the contact information for our Swapcard team members, and they'll also be again available during the conference for all of those dates. And I think now we're going to go into Q&A.
Neo, if you like, I can just start pulling from some of the questions that are coming up in the Q&A box.
Please do, thank you.
All right, so I would love to get more detail about the pitch sessions. That's one of the things that's coming up. And let's see, namely about reservations for those pitch session times.
Sure. Pitch sessions are assigned on a first come, first served basis. And that means that when you purchase your booth, they're being scheduled in that manner. So if you purchased your booth on November 30th, you would be one of the first people scheduled for a pitch session. And those coming in at the later end of the cycle will be slotted in at times that remain available. Another question I saw was how many pitches will each premium booth holder have? So one pitch is included with each premium booth. Robbie, if there are more questions you want to share?
Let's see. Yes. So we talked a little bit about the ability to set up meeting times. Are we planning on limiting the number of times available at all?
We are not limiting the number of times, or the time slots rather. Once the platform is open, you can set meeting times at any time that fits your schedule. And while Robbie is pulling up more questions, I just want to share that with this recording online, there will also be a spec sheet that speaks to the size of your video for the pitch sessions, as well as the videos and the uploads that would be in your booth.
Okay, and one of the questions here. A lot of questions about the deadline for building booths out, and I just want to confirm when we are planning to open the platform for editing, what that December 30th opening the platform to everybody deadline looks like, and that people will be able to edit their booths after that December 30th.
Thank you. So yes, the platform will be open on December 22nd, Tuesday, December 22nd. And at that time, you can begin to upload your products and to build your booth. On December 29th, we ask that booths be set up. On December 30th, the platform will be open to attendees. So that's 1 week prior to the conference to allow attendees time to be acclimated with the software. But you can, if you need to make adjustments to your booth after the 29th, you are permitted to do so.
Okay. Question about what is the total number of badges included with the premium booth, if any?
There are not badges included with the premium booth. The premium booth is an add-on to your conference registration, which if you're applying right now through our hardship fund is just $50. And then you would need to purchase the booth.
Great. And just confirmation that live/video chat is included in the basic booth purchase.
Yes, that is correct. All features that we discussed today are available for both standard and premium booths.
Okay, and this may be a question that our Margaret and Angie will jump in on, but we're planning on keeping the conference platform open until January 31st, but are the interactive functions, including scheduling meetings through Swapcard, still available through that time?
Yes, they are. Mm-hmm.
And I think this will go back to y'all. Can meeting times interact with Calendly or other meeting platforms?
Yes, you can download, similar to how I showed those buttons where you can download in Excel. During or once you've set up a bunch of meetings, you can export it to your Outlook calendar or Gmail calendar, whatever you use.
And I believe that attendees can download materials from booths. Is that correct?
Yes, I just answered that question. Booth materials are downloadable, you know, if they are a PDF, things like that. So yes.
Okay. Neo, back to you. If I purchase a booth, do I need also to buy a badge for myself or just for each member of staff?
Currently, you would need to register as a conference attendee and then purchase a booth. As our leadership mentioned at the top of the webinar, we are exploring options and ways that we can further support the field. So right now, you would need to purchase registration for the conference, which is $50, and then you would be able to add on a booth. I hope I answered the question.
Yeah, I think that covers it. And we are also getting a lot of questions about the attendee list as well, and whether we're planning to provide that in advance as we have in previous years.
Yes, beginning next week, the attendee list will be available to registered attendees via your registration login portal, and more information will be emailed to all attendees soon.
And I'd like to field this one also. Is it possible to take part in the conference without creating a virtual booth?
Thank you, Robbie. Absolutely. There are many options for attending the conference. You don't need to purchase a booth. The registration rate is open to everyone.
Great. And this question's come up a few times. Is there an option to purchase or add on an additional pitch session to the premium booth purchase?
Not at this time. There is one pitch per premium booth.
And then can you clarify what additional badge holders can do and how much the badges are?
Sure. Additional badge holders have full access to the conference, and the rate is $50 per additional badge. And I see this question often. Once you've registered as an exhibitor, you'll receive a personalized email, which gives you a link where you can purchase your additional booth badges.
Great. And I think there might have been a little confusion about what we were saying in the booth badge related earlier. Once you have registered at the full conference attendee rate and then purchased a booth, those booth badges are for other people in your organization, not for the person who has already registered, correct?
Correct.
Will the conference platform work with Firefox? I think this is for Margaret and team.
We suggest Chrome is the best browser to use. It is, you will be able to use it in Firefox, but we do definitely suggest Chrome.
Great. And then this is a question back to APAP team. Since you're still exploring funding to offset the cost to exhibitors, can the early bird and general purchase deadlines be extended until that determination is made? Neo, could you talk a little bit more about status of those conversations?
Sure, I can just add that the conversations are ongoing. We're having discussions. And if we have reached deadlines, just like with the hardship fund that is available to anyone, if you've already purchased a booth and additional funds are available, we'll be able to offer a refund if that is the case. Lisa, feel free to add anything there if you'd like.
Yes, I can speak to that. So we're trying to do our best, as I said earlier, to help people where they need help. If you find that you need help, please get in touch with us, and we will do what we can to assist you. If you're able to just treat it as a contribution, we also appreciate that too. So we are really trying to work with everyone, and those of us who may need more help, please don't hesitate to get in touch. We are getting a few requests, and we're happy to honor as many as we can up until the fund that allows. So thank you for that.
Thanks, Lisa. And we've had several questions, Neo, about the showcase listing purchase deadline / timeline. Could you speak to that?
Yes, I will say an email will be sent to all membership tomorrow with more detailed deadlines. But we do need to have showcase listings on the platform. We'll do 2 uploads, one at the end of December and one again in the beginning of January before the conference is live. And in terms of showcase timing, you can select the showcase time. We will have a showcase listing agenda that will house all of the showcases that are happening over the conference dates. You don't need to select the time. You pick a time that works best for you.
We've had a question about what the total number of presenters and total number of exhibitors registered is. Neo, are we planning on providing that information?
That will be on the list that's available next week.
Okay, and this is a question about the lead retrieval piece. Do we get to see who has visited our booth in real time, or do we only get that information after the conference? How / when can we see who has visited the booth?
Sure. Margaret and Angie, can I ask you to answer that question, please, just about the process?
Yes, of course. So as you may have seen from Margaret's demo, there are some analytics provided on the Exhibitor Center for your booth. Those are general analytics, so it's overall numbers of, the number of views on your company profile, number of people who have bookmarked your company, number of confirmed meetings, how many contacts made, and the list grows as you are part of the event and create more meetings and make more connections. However, specific information as to who visited the booth page and when will be provided. That's additional analytics provided after the conference.
While we're with y'all GES team, another tech spec, how long a video can be uploaded?
Yeah, typically there is not really a limit on size of the video. For many of the documents and things of that nature, we recommend 10 megabytes. But as you will see on the Exhibitor Center, as you're editing information and the additional specs that we'll send after this meeting, there will be notes as to if there's any limit. So many of the images are 1 megabyte. So we'll send those additional details out as well.
Okay, and then question here, is there a maximum number of PDFs you can upload to the documents section? Can the attendee download the PDF directly from that page? And can you upload multi-page documents?
So yes, you can upload multi-page documents, you can upload PDFs, and no, there is no limit on the number of documents. And any of those documents you add to your booth page is downloadable to the attendees.
We have a good question, jumping back to Neo, about more showcasing. Can we add the URL for the static showcase to be viewed after the premiere, a day or two after the premiere, or must it be provided to you when we submit the showcase listing initially? I think we're talking about the replay link for a recorded showcase having to be provided before the showcase itself has taken place.
Yes. So as an example, we would need that listing prior to the conference or by that January 5th date before the conference starts, as that way it will be uploaded to the platform once we're open.
Great. And Neo, if you could speak to this one, will an agency have any opportunity for visibility if they attend but do not have a virtual booth?
Mm-hmm. As a registered attendee, you will still have a profile in the platform with a link to your website and your contact information. And we are working on other ways that we might provide visibility to those that don't have a booth.
Okay, and I want to go to a comment here that I wonder if you could speak to. It is difficult that the pitch sessions are scheduled each day during the exact same hour as the only, quote, manned, unquote, booth hour each day. This is a concerning conflict as presenters are the audience for both of these activities. Having them scheduled simultaneously devalues both the pitch session and the booths. Could you chat about that?
Sure. And I want to first make sure that we are clear that we're not requiring anyone to staff your booth at any time during the conference. It's listed on our agenda in a way so that nothing is programmed against the pitch sessions at that time, but the booth is still open. So if after your pitch and you want to direct someone to your booth for further discussion, you can do so. But we are not requiring you to staff your booth at any point during the conference.
Great, okay. Question here, for showcases that are not live, will the video link just exist starting on January 6th, or is there a day/time slot that we choose for it to start?
They're live starting January 6th. Unless you are doing a live airing, at which time you would select the time that you want to post your showcase.
Great. And I think this is a bit of a best practices question. How do we work in a collective booth that everyone has time to be a part of and share?
So everyone that's registered as your booth staff will have access to the calendar, and you'll all be able to see the appointments that you've scheduled. So we encourage you to coordinate with your team the meetings that are happening in the booth.
Great. We have a question here about advertising opportunities, and just if you could speak to that more, Neo.
Sure. Conference sponsorship and advertising options are available. Kristen Cooper, our sponsorship manager, is available for more discussions. And on our APAP 365 website, you can see a link to sponsor and advertising offerings available for the conference.
Great. And I'm just trying to power through as many of these as possible as we're getting a lot of questions in. Thank you, everybody. How do we provide the live Q&A if that's a part occurring with the pitch session?
Sure, thank you. Your pre-recorded pitch session will air in Swapcard. In the platform, you will be able to engage in live Q&A via the chat, so that that's not pre-recorded. So while you'll air your video, then the rest of the time will be allotted for questions and answers.
Excellent. I think we've got a question for the GES folks, and thank you all for staying on, by the way. I know we've gone a little over. Can you have 2 meetings at the same time with 2 different staff of your booth?
Yes, so you can do that because you're really taking the meetings from your personal profile rather than just your exhibit booth as a whole. So that allows for multiple meetings at the same time because it would be, you know, Angie, the exhibitor, calling, you know, Robbie, the attendee.
Great. And I want to just read out loud one question here, clarifying on the showcases. I do not want anyone to view my showcases until the live showcase. So if I have a second link to the viewing after the live showcase, could I specify when it will be viewable? I want it to be able to be seen after the live showcase.
Thanks, Robbie. Yes, you would determine when that replay URL is live. So you would put with your showcase listing, you're going to put the date of the live airing, and then you'll note that it will then be available for replay.
Great. And this, we've got a couple questions about the timing of the pre-recorded showcases. Would this be something, when you're doing a pre-recorded showcase, that if we purchase it on January 6th, it would be available at any point during the conference?
Yes, that is correct. It would be available at any point during the conference. And Robbie, can I maybe ask you to go back a bit? You were a bit muffled with that last question.
Yes. Can you hear me okay?
No, actually, you're still a bit muffled. Let's see, can I ask Jenny to jump in to see if we can take over questions?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, great.
Thank you.
Okay, so Jody is asking if a couple of our artists get badges to attend the conference, do they get individual profiles? And then can they put their artist info in the company area? For instance, the dance company they're a director of.
So they would be listed, each registrant has a profile, but they would be listed under your organization and under your booth staff. And that's what their profile would link to, your booth.
Great. Someone asks in an earlier slide regarding the pitch sessions, it says first come, first serve. What does that mean?
Mhm.
And second, do we have access to download the attendee list? And maybe that was already covered on the attendee list.
Sure. Regarding the pitch sessions, that means that it's first come, first serve based on when you purchased your premium booth.
Okay, and do people have access to the download the attendee list, or was that already covered?
It was, but I'm happy
okay.
to cover it again.
Oh.
Beginning next week, all attendees will have access to the advanced attendee list.
Great.
And that will be done through our My APAP portal.
Geraldine asks, is there a limit to the number of roster artists to add, and can we add their promo video? So I think that's referring to the booth itself. And so yeah.
Sure. There is not a limit to the number of artists you can add. And for our purposes, I think on the demo we saw it listed as products. For the APAP platform, those will be artists on your roster. And there's no limit on how many you can add. There is a limit on the number of videos. And Swapcard team, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the limit is 1 video per booth.
That's correct. Yes. So it's either that static image or 1 video that will show within the booth page. But typically you can put links to other things if needed in your bio.
So you can add additional URLs in the bio.
Also, you can switch out your video, whether you want, 1 video the first day and 1 video the second day, but you can just only show 1 video at a time.
Great. Deirdre is asking, we want to limit access to backend among our booth badge holders. Can we do this? Not sure if I...
So anyone that is a booth staff member will have that access to the Exhibitor Center. However, you can hide if you have a booth staff member that's really just setting up the booth, maybe your marketing team, something like that, but they won't actually be chatting with attendees or having meetings during the event. You can hide them so they don't appear on your exhibit booth page during the event.
Awesome, awesome. And I know Jerry has a couple questions. Thanks, Jerry, for your patience. Will meeting times that can be scheduled in the platform be limited? So in the Expo Hall, if you have that, will meeting times be limited?
Meeting times are not limited in the Expo Hall. You can schedule at any time that the platform is online. I believe another question we had an IXGS team to answer. So if you can schedule meetings at any time online, and this speaks to international attendees as well. What time zones will that show in?
Sure. So your event will adjust to the time zone that you are using the platform in. So it will adjust to your computer time zones. If you'd like to change it to any other time zones, you can do so in your settings or change your computer time zone, but that's how it will appear. And typically you will it will show you on the platform that it is your specific time zone.
Great. We have a number of really good questions about pitch sessions. So get ready for this. So your pitches, you said pitches would run concurrently. Does that mean all at once, or what exactly does that mean?
Sure, thank you, Jenny. So pitches will run concurrently during the pitch hours. And what that means is on first come, first served basis. They won't all run at the same hour. There will be a set that will run on Friday and a different set on Saturday and every day throughout the conference. And then once it's had its original live airing, your pitch will then be available for replay on the platform through the end of the month. And while we are talking about pitches, I also want to reassure everyone that if you purchase a premium booth, you'll be able to have a pitch. There is not a limit on the number of pitch sessions available.
Great. And I think that concurrently too, Nia, if I remember correctly, I mean, it really will depend on the number that exist, but we're certainly hoping to keep the number that are running concurrently low, and also be sensitive to those that may have like pitches that they do not, we'll make our best effort to not run them against at the same time.
Thank you.
Regarding the pitch sessions, another question. I want to make sure my pitch session, Jody asks, does not coincide with the same time as my 2 live showcases. How can we request time slots for pitches, or more specifically, just ensure that my pitch doesn't overlap with my showcases?
Sure.
Very good question.
Pitches are being scheduled on a first come, first served basis. And each premium booth holder will receive an email from APAP with your pitch time. And you will have that, Jody, so that you can schedule your showcases around your pitch slot.
Great, and I think that answered a couple of questions that are in here, but so because somebody did ask about requesting a time slot, so it works with are you taking into consideration an exhibitor's time zone?
We are taking that into consideration. And also we're sliding in on first come, first served basis based on your time zone, and also looking at your market. If it's a commercial pitch or if it's specialized, we're trying to slot that schedule in the concurrent sessions. And as you've mentioned, the concurrent sessions will be based on the number of pitch sessions that are purchased.
Can several people present at a pitch session? And if yes, how would that work?
Okay, the answer is no. Your pitch session would be for the booth holder and one representative representing your roster.
A couple of things about Exhibit Hall and Showcase. Let's see. So somebody's asking about the dedicated hours that we show scheduled every day for the Exhibit Hall, and are those still happening? And I think that was that predates some of our conversations. So Neo, you want to clarify what that means?
Sure. What that means is at that time, there won't be any sessions. You're not required to staff your booth at any point during the conference. It is there to use as an engagement tool with attendees, to set meetings, and as a place where attendees can find out information about your roster, but you're not required to man your booth. So during that dedicated time, while pitches are running concurrently, there won't be other conference programming happening.
Around showcases, somebody's asking, is there a designated window, kind of watch time each evening for independent showcases, or can a showcase be scheduled at any time during the day?
Showcases can be scheduled at any time during the conference.
Let's see here. When would we know who attended our pitch session, and who do they register in advance?
Advanced registrations are available. So once the platform is live, attendees can build their agenda. You'll also have the option to come in real time. So you will be able to see as a panelist for that time who has pre-registered, but attendees will also have the option of coming in without registering in advance.
So Marianne mentions presence detection. I think she means like being able to detect somebody in the booth, so to speak, is really important to the way we do business. Is there any way to get the lead information or anybody who's in the booth prior to the platform closing? And you may have already answered this, but repeating it.
Sure. We provide lead retrieval post-conference for all activity in your booth. And Swapcard team, I'll ask you to address this, but analytics are also available in your booth while the conference is happening. Can you speak to that briefly?
Yes, that's correct. So in the exhibitor webinar, there are general analytics, and those are basically overall numbers as to who has viewed your exhibit page, how many meetings you have, your team has, number of people bookmarked for your company, and that will continuously build during the event, but specific information will come from APAP, as Neo mentioned.
And John asks, should we keep showcases to 15 to 20 minutes like we do normally? And I think what you do with your showcase is really, you know, we're accepting, some people do put on full length events as well. So I think it really is, you know, a strategic question on your part. I don't know if there's a best way, but Neo, did you have an answer for that?
No, thank you, Jenny. But yes, as independent showcases, you can decide the timing of your showcase. But a best practice would be to limit to the 15 to 20-minute session.
For lesser known artists, Heather asks, is it important to have specific times when presenters know they can find us in our booth?
I don't think, based on the platform, that it is required. I think it's helpful. It will be helpful once attendee lists are available in advance, that you can connect with attendees in advance. I think that will help to drive traffic to your booth.
Marion's asking, regarding the Q&A after the pitch session, will everybody who's seen the pitch session be seeing the chat questions that come in from coming from other?
From others, yes. So much like in the webinar we're in now, everyone will be able to see the questions that are coming through the chat.
Manuel is asking for showcase. It's a good question. Definitely one we'll make sure to get the answer to. If we're doing a live premiere for which we do not have the recorded version when we submit, how do we list the permanent replay URL when we register the showcase to begin with? It sounds like that's something we will definitely need to provide some guidance on.
Some more details on how you present your replay URL will be available when we present a showcase email that is scheduled to be sent to attendees tomorrow.
Katie is asking, is there any capability within Swapcard to utilize a live video feed for the Q&A to answer questions on video? And I think so. She's referencing Q&A, so I think it sounds like
Sure. The way our platform is set up, the Q&A is slated to be done with the chat and question and answer function. We are working with our producers to further enhance our options, but at this time, it will be done in the chat and Q&A function in the platform.
Also regarding pitch sessions, when will the pitch sessions be broadcasted?
When will the pitch sessions will be aired on, based on the times on our agenda, on the conference agenda. And then once they've aired, they'll be available for replay.
This one I'm not really sure. It says, please clarify the Q&A part of the pitch session. Is there anything more we can share about that, Neo?
I think perhaps we've just answered it,
Okay.
but the Q&A will
Great.
be, yes, and using the chat and the Q&A feature in Swapcard.
And Manuel has a great question. Since pitch sessions are awarded on a first come, first serve basis, how soon will we know if the our hardship assistance fund request is approved, as we cannot get a booth until we register? It's a good question.
I'm sorry, Jenny, you cut out for me for a second. Could you
sorry.
repeat that?
Sorry, I was just saying, since pitch sessions are awarded on a first come, first serve, how soon will we know if a hardship request is approved for our registration?
Sure. Those requests are being approved on a rolling basis. The deadline is the 18th, but if you've already applied, you'll get notification before the 18th. And so that's happening on a rolling basis. So it will give you the opportunity, you'll be notified before the 18th, so you have an opportunity to register.
Rachel asks, understood that the pitch sessions are determined based on when you purchase your booth, but how exactly does that work? Will APAP will email us or the premium booth holder one by one to choose by a list of times, or what does that look like?
So I think I mentioned this a bit earlier, but you will receive a notification from APAP via email with your time based on first come, first served basis. So it won't be that you're receiving a list of times to select from. We're selecting the times and sending that notification to you.
And those times, Neo, those are not up against other programming. Is that right?
That is correct.
Great. On an APAMA call, Heather asks, it was said there'd be no limit to pitch sessions. Is that still true? Is there now a limit?
There is no limit to pitch sessions. If you purchase a premium booth, you will have a pitch session.
Will all or any attendees be able to attend a pitch session? And how can we increase traffic to my pitch session? And will I be competing with someone else?
Sessions will run concurrently and all attendees will have access to the session. So it will be listed. There'll be a pitch session agenda in the platform. There'll also be on your Expo landing page, the note that you have a pitch session will be listed there as well. And all attendees will have access to the pitch session.
And as we've mentioned before, there will be some concurrent running of pitch sessions due to the number, but that we're trying to keep that number low and also make sure there are not pitch sessions running. Somebody's asking if we purchase a premium booth now in order to get a pitch session assigned and we're awarded hardship funding later, will we get the difference of our registration fee refunded? I think that also goes to if I've already registered, can I still apply for a hardship?
Yes, the same rule applies. The fund is available to those who have registered and those who have not registered. And if you have registered, you will receive a refund.
Okay, let's see here. Tracy asks, but if you want to use the live feature, then you're compelled to staff the booth, right? So I think she's talking about sort of those interactive parts of the booth. How are we not staffing the booth if there are live features? Is it, how does that work?
Want to make sure I understand the question. So the features are available for set meetings and for any traffic that you drive to your booth, as an example, after your pitch session, or if you've connected with an attendee using the artificial intelligence matching, that's a way for you to then come to your booth and use the features that are online. And we've designed the booth this year to allow for it to be completely open so that you are not required to man your booth, as that will give you more time to attend some of the other sessions or participate in other activities associated with the conference.
So I guess I read that as also, do you get notified if I'm in a session, and is there some way that Swapcard is notifying me that that something's happening in my booth, or somebody's trying to, if I'm anywhere in the conference, do I know that somebody is trying to start a call with me regardless of where I am?
Margaret or Angie, could you speak to that briefly, please?
So Margaret and Angie have hopped off, but there are notification features included in Swapcard.
Kristen asks, I'm still confused about multiple staff in the booth. Can all of us be on separate video calls within the booth at the same time? And we'll definitely be taking some of these questions, by the way, to Margaret and Angie as well. If there's something.
Thanks. Thank you, Jenny. And yes, and that is a question that would actually be best answered by our Swapcard partners. And we will be providing after this webinar their information as well, so that we can utilize their expertise in how to navigate the booth.
Jody asks, my showcases through my agency are a few hours long featuring multiple artists. So I'd like to list this larger showcase, which is what I usually do at APAP. You just mentioned 15 to 20 minutes, and this is a concern. My individual artists are doing 5 to 12 minute showcases, but my big showcase will be 3 to 5 hours. There is absolutely no limit to the length of your showcase. The earlier question was asking if they should do 15 or 20 minutes, and we mentioned that that really that is up to you. You can schedule your showcase at any time. This is also a global convening, so time is a little different, and so it really you absolutely can do a much longer showcase. Let's see. Somebody asks, is it possible to have another webinar specific to showcases? That's a great question. It's certainly something that I think we can definitely look at. Oh, and then more questions about whether or not people get relief. So we'll want to hit on that hardship assistance fund at the end. Let's see. And that might be it. I think everything else may have been covered because some of them were follow-ups to things we answered. So that's all I see, unless there's something. Was there anything in the chat? I'm the one sharing screen, so.
I think we've covered most of the questions at this point. And again, we are available via email as well as our Swapcard team to answer additional questions on showcasing and pitches and any questions about the Expo Hall. We want to thank everyone for joining us today. And lastly, I just want to remind everyone that we are trying to meet the needs of the field and to address the hardship that many of us have at this time. We again have a no barriers relief option for membership. So essentially, you can pay what you can. Please contact our membership team for more information about that process. And again, we have a hardship assistance fund available. The deadline for registering is December 18th. With that subsidy, conference registration is just $50. And I think with that, we are at the end of our webinar today. Thank you, and thank you to our sponsors. Thank you, everyone. Have a great afternoon.